Hello friends, in this video we will discuss the structure of liver. The word liver came from the Greek word hepa. It is the largest gland of the body. It occupies much of the right upper part of the abdominal cavity. It consists of both exocrine and endocrine parts. The liver performs a wide variety of metabolic activities that are necessary for homeostasis, nutrition, and immune response. This is the picture of liver. It extends from here till here, that is occupying most of the right part of abdominal cavity. Truly speaking, right upper part of abdominal cavity. First, let us see about microscopic anatomy. We will see it in terms of location, dimensions, surfaces, border, lobes, segments, ligaments, porta hepatis, fissures, and recesses. First, about its location. The liver almost fully occupies right hypochondrium, upper part of epigastrium, and part of left hypochondrium up to the left lateral or mid-clavicular line. It extends upward under the rib cage to the fifth rib anteriorly on right side and left fifth intercostal space. In this image you can see this is the image of liver or picture of liver. On left side it extends up to the fifth intercostal space and on right side under the rib it extends up to the fifth rib. In this picture you can see the different regions of the abdomen. This is the right hypochondriac region. Here this space is the epigastrium and this space is the left hypochondriac region. The liver occupies almost all of the right hypochondrium, the upper part of epigastrium and the left hypochondrium up to the mid-clavicular line. This is the mid-clavicular line, which is an imaginary line drawn from middle of clavicle through the nipple downward. So up to the left mid-clavicular line, the liver is extended in the left hypochondrium. About shape and size of liver. The liver is covered by a fibrous layer known as Glissen's capsule. The liver is wedge-shaped and its base directed towards the right and apex directed towards the left. The liver is red-brown in color. About its weight, in male it is 1.4 to 1.8 kg and in female it is 1.2 to 1.4 kg. This is the wedge shape of liver. It has a base directed towards the right and it has an apex directed towards the left. About the external features of liver. The liver has two well-defined surfaces. The first one is diaphragmatic surface and the second is visceral surface. And it has a well-defined border also. That is called as inferior border. In this image you can see this is the diaphragmatic surface and this is the inferior surface of liver or visceral surface of liver and this is the inferior border of liver. Coming to the features of diaphragmatic surface. It is also called anterior superior surface. It is smooth and convex. It is snugly fit under the curvature of diaphragm or it has the shape of the diaphragm which is dome shape. The posterior aspect of diaphragmatic surface is not covered by visceral peritoneum. All other areas are covered by peritoneum. The posterior surface is not, and that is in direct contact with the diaphragm, and that area is called the bare area. This is the convex shaped diaphragmatic surface. All area is covered by peritoneum except an area called a bare area which is not covered by peritoneum. This is in direct contact with the diaphragm above. About its visceral surface. It is called a posterior inferior surface. With the exception of fossa of gallbladder and porta hepatis, about which we will see later, is covered by peritoneum. Fossa of gallbladder and porta hepatis is not covered by peritoneum. Rest all areas are covered by peritoneum of the visceral surface. It is molded by the shape of the surrounding organ, making it irregular and flat. The visceral surface is irregular and flat because it has the shape of the surrounding organ or organ below it. So below the visceral surface we can see, or the visceral surface is in contact with the right kidney, right adrenal gland, right colic fissure, transverse colon, first part of duodenum, gallbladder, esophagus and the stomach. Here you can see the inferior surface of the liver. As you see, there is impressions of several organs into which the visceral surface is in touch. You can see the gastric impression where the stomach is in contact, esophageal impression, then colic impression, renal impression, suprarenal impression, etc. Because of attachment with or in contact with these organs, the inferior surface or the visceral surface is flat and irregular. About its border. The border is inferior border and its features include: it separates the diaphragmatic surface from the visceral surface. The posterior border separates the liver from the diaphragmatic surface and the visceral surface. It is rounded laterally, thin and sharp medially. It has two nodes, interlobar nodes and cystic nodes, which we will see later. This is the inferior border on one side or the anterior view. This is the lateral border which is round, and here you can see the medial border which is sharp. Coming to the lobes of liver. The liver has anatomical lobes and physiological lobes. About its anatomical lobes on the diaphragmatic surface. The liver is divided into two lobes, right and left, by the attachment of falciform ligament. The right lobe, which forms the base of the wedge-shaped liver, is approximately 6 times larger than the left one. Here you can see the right lobe of liver. This is the left lobe of liver. This is a falciform ligament splitting the liver into right and left. The right lobe is almost 6 times larger than the left one. On the visceral surface, the liver has 4 lobes: right lobe, left lobe, quadrate lobe and caudate lobe. The right lobe to the right of fossa of gallbladder, left lobe to the left of fissures for ligamentum teres and ligamentum venosus, quadrate lobe between the fossa of gallbladder and the fissure for ligamentum teres below the porta hepatis, caudate lobe between the groove for IVC and the fissure for ligamentum venosum. In this image you can see the visceral surface. This is the visceral surface and diagrammatic representation only, and the 4 lobes. This is the right lobe, left lobe, caudate lobe and quadrate lobe. This is the area or the organs or the demarcation of right lobe. This is the groove of inferior vena cava. This is the fossa of gallbladder. Just a diagrammatic representation. The right lobe is seen to the right of fossa of gallbladder and the groove of IVC. Coming to the left lobe, it is seen to the left of 2 fissures. The fissure for ligamentum venosum, this is the one, and the fissure for ligamentum teres, this is the one. It is seen to the left of these fissures. Coming to other 2 lobes, the caudate lobe and the quadrate lobe. This is the area for porta hepatis, which we will see later in this video. Caudate lobe is seen between the fossa of gallbladder and the fissure for ligamentum teres below the porta hepatis. This is porta hepatis. Below porta hepatis, between this fissure and the fossa of gallbladder. In contrast, the caudate lobe is seen above the porta hepatis between the fissure for ligamentum venosum and the groove for IVC. In this image, this is the right lobe, this is the left lobe, this is caudate lobe, and here you can see the quadrate lobe with its anatomical landmark. About the physiological lobes of liver. It is also called functional lobes or true lobes. The division of the liver into true lobes is based on the intrahepatic distribution of bile duct, hepatic artery and portal vein. It means there is independent supply to the lobes. Bile duct is separate right and left. There is right and left hepatic artery branches and there is right and left portal vein. The liver is divided into right and left physiological lobes by an imaginary line in the sagittal plane called the Cantley's line. This is the imaginary line. It is drawn between cystic notch and inferior vena cava. In this image, this is the imaginary line. This is the imaginary line. Right of this line is the right lobe and this is the left lobe. Coming to the segments of liver or hepatic segments. Thus we have seen the anatomical and physiological lobe. Now we will enter into the liver segments or hepatic segments. There are 8 hepatic segments. The right physiological lobe is divided into anterior and posterior parts, and the left physiological lobe is divided into medial and lateral parts. Here you can see this is the right lobe. This is a Cantley's line. This is the right true lobe or physiological lobe, and this is the left true lobe or physiological lobe. These two lobes are divided into anterior and posterior, the right lobe, and the left one is divided into medial and lateral. Again, these parts are further divided into upper and lower part and form 8 surgically resectable hepatic segments. Then this is 2 in number now. This is again divided into upper and lower, each one. So you will get, this is a posterior lobe. So upper and lower or superior and inferior. Posterior superior, posterior inferior. Similarly, anterior inferior and anterior superior. So we will get 4 surgically resectable segments. And similarly, the left lobe also upper and lower or superior and inferior medial ones and superior and inferior lateral ones. The vein draining the hepatic segments are intersegmental, that is, they drain more than one segments. Coming to Connor's naming. According to nomenclature of Connor, the hepatic segments are numbered 1 to 8. Roman number 1 to 8. 1 to 4 is seen in left hemisphere or left lobe, and 5 to 8 are seen in the right hemisphere or right lobe. Segment 1 to 4 of the left lobe are supplied by left hepatic artery, left branch of portal vein and left hepatic duct. Segments 5 to 8 of right lobe are supplied by right hepatic artery, right branch of portal vein and drained by right hepatic duct. So there is clear anatomical supply between right lobe and left lobe. This is therapeutically important, which we will see later in this video. Coming to the ligaments of liver. The liver has 6 major ligaments: falciform, coronary, triangular, round, ligamentum venosum and lesser omentum. These ligaments are formed from double layer of peritoneum. They attach the liver to the surrounding structures. About falciform ligament. This is a sickle-shaped ligament. It attaches the anterior surface of liver to the anterior abdominal wall, and it divides the liver into right and left anatomical lobes as we have seen already. This is the sickle-shaped falciform ligament. This is the left lobe, this is the right lobe dividing by falciform ligament. It attaches the liver to the anterior abdominal wall. Next important ligament is coronary ligament. It has an anterior fold and a posterior fold. It attaches the superior surface of liver to the inferior surface of diaphragm, and it demarcates the so-called pair area of liver. The anterior and posterior fold unite to form triangular ligaments on right and left lobes respectively. This pink colored one is the coronary ligament. It has posterior fold and anterior fold. The anterior and posterior fold join together and form triangular ligament. This is a triangular ligament on left side. Similarly, the one on right side is the right triangular ligament. This is the anterior fold, and similarly one come from posterior side and join to form right triangular ligament, another important ligament of liver. Next about lesser omentum, another ligament of liver. This is the two-fold of peritoneum which extend from porta hepatis to lesser curvature of stomach and superior part of duodenum. This area can be called as a porta hepatis, about which we will see in this video, porta hepatis. So this fold of peritoneum starts from porta hepatis and attached to the lesser curvature of stomach. This is the stomach and this is the lesser curvature of stomach, and one to the duodenum, its upper part. Hepatogastric ligament is a segment of lesser omentum which attaches porta hepatis to lesser curvature of liver. That is called a hepatogastric ligament. Another one is hepatoduodenal ligament, the second part of lesser omentum. It attaches porta hepatis to the upper part of duodenum. This is the hepatoduodenal ligament. This contains the bile duct, portal vein, and the hepatic artery. The hepatoduodenal segment contains these three main vessels. These are the two parts of lesser. One sentence about the area called the porta hepatis. This is the area that serves as the point of entry into the liver for hepatic artery, portal vein, and exit for the hepatic ducts. This is the point of entry in the liver for hepatic artery and portal vein and exit for hepatic duct. That area is called a porta hepatis. This is the area called a porta hepatis. This is the portal vein. This is the hepatic artery, and this is the bile passage. All together constitute something called a portal triad. So the area where portal triad is seen is called a porta hepatis, an anatomically important area. Thus we have come to the end of porta hepatis. Only one sentence about that. Now we will see the fissures of liver. You can see here a right sagittal fissure. Then here you can see the left sagittal fissure. It is also called the umbilical fissure. In the left sagittal fissure or in the umbilical fissure, you can see two ligaments. Here ligamentum venosus and here round ligament or umbilical vein. And here you can see this is the right sagittal fissure where in the upper part you can see inferior vena cava, and here you can see gallbladder. This is the gallbladder, and this is the space where it is called a cystic notch in the, this is the inferior border of liver, and this notch or the depression occupied by gallbladder is called a cystic notch of liver. And this is the round ligament, and the space in the inferior border occupied by round ligament is called the interlobar notch. Coming to the next anatomical feature in the microscopic anatomy, the hepatic recesses. Recesses are otherwise the spaces So these are the anatomical spaces between the liver and the surrounding structures. They are clinically important because infection may collect in this area forming abscess, that is localized collection of pus. Abscess means localized collection of pus. This we will see in the clinical application in this video. There are three anatomically important spaces or recesses: subphrenic space, subhepatic space, and Morrison's pouch. Subphrenic space, sub means below, phrenic means diaphragm. That means it is located between the diaphragm and the anterior superior aspects of liver, below the diaphragm, above the liver. Subhepatic space, it is a space located between inferior surface of liver and the transverse colon, under the liver, above the transverse colon. Then Morrison's pouch, it is a potential space only which can be seen in between the visceral surface of liver and the right kidney. This is a subphrenic recess above the liver under the diaphragm. This is a subhepatic space under the liver above the transverse colon. That is all about macroscopic anatomy. Now we will look into the microscopic anatomy of liver. Microscopically, the liver is occupied by cells called hepatocytes. These hepatocytes are arranged into lobules. These are the structural units of liver. Lobules are the structural units of liver. Each lobule is hexagonal shaped and it is drained by a central vein. At the periphery of the hexagon, there are three structures which are collectively known as portal triad. The three structures are arteriole, branch of hepatic artery, venule, branch of hepatic portal vein, and bile duct, which is a branch of bile duct leaving the liver. Additionally, we can see lymphatic vessels and vagus nerve fibers in the portal triad. Coming to the picture of microscopic anatomy, this is the liver. A section of liver is taken like this, and here you can see a number of hexagons. So each hexagon is called a lobule, or we will say lobule is hexagonal shaped. This is the structure of a hexagon. It has 6 sides. That is why it is called a hexagon. And at the periphery of hexagon, this is the periphery of hexagon. You can see portal triad at the periphery. At each corner you can see portal triad. It consists of 3 vessels mainly: the portal venule, portal arteriole, and bile duct. There is a central vein draining each lobule. Different lobule collect together and form interlobular vein, then drain into hepatic vein. That is about microscopic anatomy in brief. Coming to the relations of liver, we have already seen there is anterior relation and posterior relation. Anterior relation include diaphragm, right and left costal margin, right and left pleura and lungs, xiphoid process, anterior abdominal wall. Posteriorly, we can see diaphragm, right kidney, hepatic flexure of colon, duodenum, gallbladder, inferior vena cava, esophagus, and the stomach. About the blood supply of liver. Liver has unique dual blood supply. 75% of the blood is supplied from hepatic portal vein and another 25% is supplied by hepatic artery proper. Hepatic artery supply non-parenchymal structures. It is derived from celiac trunk, and the portal vein supply partially deoxygenated nutrient-rich blood from small intestine. This is a dominant blood supply to the liver parenchyma, where liver is able to perform gut-related functions such as detoxification. The venous drainage is through hepatic vein, which drain into inferior vena cava. One point about the formation of hepatic vein, which is anatomically and clinically important. This is a hepatic portal vein. It is formed by superior mesenteric vein. You can see the supply of superior mesenteric vein to the small intestine and to the upper part of ascending colon. and this inferior mesenteric vein supplying the remaining part of colon, and the splenic vein. All three veins together form the hepatic portal vein. So here, when the portal vein is distended due to interruption of blood supply to the liver, this is the liver, the blood will accumulate here, it causes pressure here, and that is called a portal hypertension. As a result, all this vein will become distended and it may rupture. About the name we will see later in this video. Coming to the nerve supply. The liver is innervated by hepatic plexus, which contains sympathetic fibers and parasympathetic fibers. Sympathetic fibers supplied by celiac plexus and parasympathetic by vagus nerve. Then the Glissen's capsule, the fibrous covering of the liver, is innervated by branches of lower intercostal nerve. So the distance from the liver may cause pain in the capsule due to supply of lower intercostal nerves. About the lymphatic drainage, the anterior aspect is drained into hepatic lymph nodes and the posterior aspects are drained into phrenic and posterior mediastinal lymph node, which join with the right and thoracic ducts. Coming to the clinical applications of the knowledge of liver anatomy. While doing gastrointestinal examination, we know abdominal palpation. In the abdominal palpation, palpation of liver is an important technique. So, the liver palpation should be performed by placing your hand on the right upper quadrant with the index finger in line with the costal angle. This is the placement of the hand in palpating the liver. We have to place our hand in the right upper quadrant, right below the right hypochondrium or right costal margin, with the index finger pointing the costal angle. Something about the subphrenic abscess. We have already told there are subphrenic recess and subhepatic recess. So here the pus can accumulate and can cause abscesses called a subphrenic abscess and a subhepatic abscess. Already we saw its clinical importance while discussing the macroscopic anatomy. About the rupture of liver. Again we saw liver is a highly vascular organ supplied by hepatic artery and portal vein. So any laceration into the liver can cause considerable hemorrhage and a right upper quadrant vein. About hepatomegaly. Hepato means liver, megaly means enlargement. So hepatic enlargement is called a hepatomegaly. This is the normal size of the liver. This is the size of enlarged liver called a hepatomegaly. Coming to the cirrhosis of liver, hepatocytes damage and consequent scarring resulting accompanied by regenerative nodules is called a cirrhosis of liver. This is the normal shape and size and color of the liver and appearance of the liver. Normal cells are called hepatocytes. When the hepatocytes are damaged, they get repaired by scarring. This scarring may lead to formation of nodules like this. This beaded-like appearance which make the liver surface rough is called a nodular appearance. And that condition altogether is called a cirrhosis, about which you will study later in the next. Something about portal hypertension. I already told you, three veins empty into or three veins together join together to form portal vein or hepatic portal vein, and it is supply 75% of blood to the liver. Due to problems like cirrhosis, when the liver is unable to receive blood from portal vein, blood will accumulate here, resulting in hypertension. Due to hypertension, the blood will accumulate in the tributaries or its branches which drain into the hepatic vein like a superior mesenteric vein, inferior mesenteric vein and splenic vein. So those veins may rupture due to excessive distension and that will result in bleeding. Coming to the hepatic lobectomies and segmentectomy. We already told the right and the left half or left lobes receive independent or separate hepatic artery and the duct and similarly vein. So surgeons can do lobectomy and segmentectomy with a less bleeding. This is the right lobe and this is the left lobe. This can be separated and this can be separated due to any problem. The entire liver need not be removed in case of any problem, anatomical or other kind of diseases to the liver. Next, about needle biopsy of liver. In needle biopsy of liver, the needle is inserted in the mid-axillary line through the 9th or 10th intercostal space. In this picture, you can see this is the 9th rib, this is 10th one. So in between the intercostal space, the doctors can insert a needle which will enter directly into the liver. Above this level, if the needle is inserted, it may damage the lungs. We have come to the end of this section. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and share.